what we have is a tier list for all of the Genshin characters based pretty much on everything, because really it's all about, do I like these characters or not? And that's what makes it the official Genshin tier list. Okay, so basically we have characters that I think are fantastic. They're really well written, they have really amazing gameplay, they're dripped out the wazoo, you know, they're really hot, or like, you know, they look really, really cool, all that good stuff, right? Then you have the great characters who are probably just mainly missing out on like one thing. So let's say characters that are like, they have very interesting gameplay, but they don't really exist in the story, or perhaps they look really, really cool, but their gameplay is a little bit you know. Then you have decent characters where maybe everything is just a little bit on the mid side, like they don't really exist in the story, but they're kind of okay, and they kind of look alright, and their gameplay is at least sort of there, but it's not like the most interesting in the planet. And you have characters that are like okay, like teetering on the point of being boring, and then you have the boring tier, which I think you already know who will be in that particular level. But either way, all of this to say, this is really just a commentary on the state of the characters and the way they exist and how I like them or don't like them. Let's just get right into it. We have the Traveler, who at the present moment only exists as Dendro Traveler in my eyes. Animo Traveler, Geo Traveler, Electro Traveler, and then certainly Hydro Traveler don't exist to me. I don't really give a shit about any of those kinds of travelers. DMC, on the other hand, is the only one that exists to me, and even then I don't really play her all that much, but still, you know, she's alright. Sometimes I just crack her out for various other demonstrations. In terms of, DMC as a character, she doesn't talk, but recently, I will say this, lately she's started talking a lot, and I'm hoping that this is more of a pattern that we're going to be seeing more and more in Natlan. What I'm thinking might be the case is that maybe the theory that the Traveler wasn't able to speak Teyvatian at the start, and has now sort of learned more of the language, has become more familiar with the language, has become more confident in the languages, maybe started to talk herself. So here's to hoping that's the case and she starts speaking more in Natlan. But for the time being, Traveler's okay. She's fine. She is whatever. Okay? Next, we have Jean, who doesn't really exist in the story lately. We certainly haven't heard from her a whole lot. She did show up briefly in the Lisa potion event, but otherwise, Jean's gameplay was made a little bit better with the introduction of Farina, but aside from that, I think she's also just okay. Like, she kind of exists. At least when I play her, it's really just a lot of skill and burst shenanigans, so her gameplay is not the most, you know, unique or interesting or fascinating. She is, of course, also a 1.0 character, so it is what it is. I haven't gotten her C6 to C6 yet. Maybe I would have a bit more appreciation for her if I ever get to her to C6, but either way, I think she's okay. Then we, of course, have my beloved Lisa. Now, the thing about Lisa is that her gameplay pretty much took a giant leap forward when Dendro came out, but her gameplay hasn't really had much of an upgrade or adjustment with Fontaine. So I feel like, whilst I still think that she's an amazing character story-wise, and of course she's hot and she has that gorgeous outfit, and of course she did also have the potion event, which I think was a fantastic event this year. I feel like she's no longer an amazing character. I feel like she is still a great character. I still love her, but I don't play her as much lately, especially because I mainly play her as an on-fielder as opposed to a lot of other players who play her as an off-fielder, so I guess that kind of limits her choices, at least for me anyway. But either way, I really like Lisa still, and I think she's still really, really cool. When it comes to Amber, she doesn't exist in the story at all, and I really don't enjoy playing her at all. She's not even okay. She's I do not enjoy playing Amber at all. I'm sorry. I tried. I really, really tried. I don't understand playing Amber at all. I don't get it. I don't get it. Ban this man from Lisa mains. Listen, I love Lisa. The fact that I'm putting her that high compared to 99% of the population is still my claim to fame as a Lisa main. It is what it is. Well, not enough apparently, yeah. You buff your doll to make it into an explosive symbol. The doll is already explosive, but you have to shoot it if you want to use her C2, but that's also a little bit memey. Either way, I don't like playing Amber. Alright, Noelle. Noelle has always been a pretty decent character, especially because she is the only character to have 2 hangouts. When are we going to get more hangouts for her Hoyoverse? I want to turn her into an actual knight. But I think the big thing that happened this year for Noelle is the introduction of Navia and Farina, which basically meant that Noelle became super duper great. I think Noelle is currently getting more carried by her gameplay at the moment because of the fact that Farina and Navia exist. For her Navia to battery the crap out of her, Farina to basically make her healing super duper nice and her damage become really, really good. So I think Noelle is currently a pretty great character. She's either great or decent. Like, she doesn't exist in the story for the most part, but I think she's a pretty great character to play. Certainly the reason why I still don't have Ito and probably never will have Ito at this point. Barbs is absolutely fine. Look, Barbs is okay. Her gameplay is kind of whatever. I barely ever play her though, which I guess, yeah, I barely play her, but it's kind of, whatever. Okay, Sucrose, I think, okay, hot take, I think Sucrose is not that interesting to play. She's not boring, because her EM share and all of her buffs are actually quite nice, but I still think her kit is clunky as hell. I don't like it. I don't like it, and she doesn't, and we haven't really heard from her in a long time. I think she's okay as a character, whatever, you know, not much. The Princesa de Frutalong is, I actually think, a great character. Not only was she great, not only was she like a pretty hilariously written character because of the way that she speaks, number one, but also if you were playing in 2.8, 1.8 or 2.8, if you were playing in 2.8, you would have gotten a lot more into the psyche of the Princesa de Frutalong and how Amy's childhood basically shaped her into being Princess Fischl from the books. So that's really, really cool. But on top of that, you know, Dendro basically supercharged the shit out of her, so that's really, really nice. Her gameplay is probably a little bit more on the boring side because her ult is meaningless. But I still like her, and I still play her from time to time, especially with Dory, especially with Chlorinde. You know, I still like her. So yeah, I think Fischl is sitting in the great character tier. Now with Mona, I think Mona is going to be our first decent character. I like the way that she speaks. I like that she was at least partially involved in the Fontaine story. I like everything that we learnt about her during that 2.8 summer event. And also, I've been playing her a lot lately as a healer because I think Medic Mona is a hidden sort of thing that nobody ever talks about, and I think people should probably look into playing Medic Mona themselves. So yeah, I think Mona is pretty decent. I don't play balls. And look, Kaeya mains are going to hate me, but honestly, I've tried Kaeya before. I still don't really find him all that interesting. I mean, look, he did get that outfit, which is kind of making me not want to put him in the boring category, but at the same time, nothing. I'm still not entirely interested. That's cap. You can surely play with your balls. No. I prefer playing with the shaft. Anyway, speaking of the shaft, we've got Cock. Diluc, because I specifically have him at C6, I think he's pretty decent. And that's exclusively because he's at C6. I feel like that's, his gameplay at C6 is significantly better. Obviously, if you don't have him at C6, he's a lot more uninteresting, but I think he's okay, and he's got the first and only 5-star outfit. When are we going to get more 5-star outfits, Hoyo? I think he's actually... He looks really, really nice, right? The 5-star outfit drip is really carrying Diluc, and then for me, the fact that he's C6 is also really carrying him, but otherwise, story-wise, we haven't really heard from him in a long time. Would like to hear more from him, maybe another Mondstadt event where he shows up for some reason, then we'll go from there. Okay, then we have Razor, who doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. The next character is going to be Ningguang, and Ningguang is really, really cool because Ningguang also got basically the Navia buff. For the longest time, it was a real struggle for me to play Ningguang, not because Ningguang was bad, but because Geo was just getting shafted 24/7, right? So because of that, when Navia came out and when the Nighttime of Whispering Woods artifact came out, I feel like that really elevated Ningguang. to becoming a very, very great character, right? If she were to be more relevant in the story nowadays, like she's relevant in the story insofar as, you know, everything that happens in Liyue, like with Osile and with Beidou. She's great in that, and I love that, but we haven't heard from her in a very long time. So, can we hear from Ningguang again, please? Like, what's she been up to? Can we help her with some shenanigans? Because she is politically, economically, financially, the most powerful character in Liyue. So, can we talk to her more? Please? Like, hello? That would be nice. In a similar fashion, we have Beidou. I don't really like playing Beidou all that much, with the exception of playing her in Sethos teams, and that's only because I find her energy to be a bit but like, you know, the interactions between Beidou and Ningguang will always be interactions in the game that I love a lot, because, you know, they're totally hooking up. But yeah, otherwise I think Beidou is a pretty decent character, all things considered. The parry mechanic is kind of fun. Then we have Keqing, who I'd rather play any other Electra character than Keqing. So I'm sorry, Keqing mains. I still find Keqing really boring. I know that like Chlorinde kind of sometimes feels like Keqing, especially with their ults. But Chlorinde, I'll talk about Chlorinde later, but like that's no. It's completely different. Okay, Oppa is fine. Like, there have been a lot more opportunities now for me to play Oppa, especially with Chevrus being a character that exists now, being a huge battery for Oppa. So I think Oppa's gameplay is obviously just super duper carrying her. In terms of like just everything else, her drip is not really that existent, but she's got a nice dress on, I guess, so it's whatever. Guoba, if anything, is actually carrying her ass even more in the story department. I'm more interested in seeing more Guoba, so that's that. So otherwise, I'd probably say that Xiangling is just a pretty decent character, all things considered. Then we have Chongyun, who still doesn't really exist in my peripheral, so unfortunately, I don't really care about him at all. We have Xingqiu, who, as a person, I don't really care about. His drip did get slightly updated with his new outfit. I think it's a nice outfit, and I've been using it a lot, and he's no longer benched at the very least, so there is that, but I'd probably say he's an okay character. His story, like his characterization in the story, I don't really care about all that much right now, but he at least has something, so that's nice. Then we have little Qiqi, who is cute. Look, I think Qiqi got a bit of a buff characterization-wise with the Beidou story quest. I really, really liked her in that. But otherwise, in terms of gameplay, there's Qiqi, there's like the Qiqi Rage type of gameplay with her and Farina. It's kind of a thing that exists. I did it once, and then I kind of moved on because physical still sucks. There is that Chlorinde Qiqi thing, but I haven't really given that too much thought myself, mainly because I think running Rosaria would be a little bit better. Let me know what you think about that. But otherwise, I think Qiqi's an okay character. Certainly her story and her characterization and the way that she speaks and everything is carrying her a lot more than her gameplay at the very least. And maybe if we get a Qiqi outfit, that might give me a better impression of her. Venti is always going to be a cheat code. I've used Venti these days almost exclusively in that nighttime domain because Animo is just really good at just dealing with everything. Otherwise, for now, I think I'm going to just leave him as a decent character, mainly because of mainly exclusively because of that nighttime domain. But his gameplay is kind of carrying him right now, even though you don't really find yourself using him all that much. With Claire, I think Claire's characterization is kind of carrying her a lot more than anything else, but I don't have her. So obviously, gameplay-wise, she's going to drop down a fair bit because I don't have her. I can't really comment any further than that. Tortellini, I think Tortellini, the thing about Tortellini is that everyone only plays him in international, and I think if you expand your opportunity of playing him outside of international, you might have a better time with him. I've kind of enjoyed just playing him in like crazy mono hydro and with liver shenanigans, especially against double pyro lectors that seem to have been a thing lately. And Tortellini just completely destroys that. So because we have had 2 Spiral Abysses now with double pyrolectors in this Fontaine patch cycle, I'm gonna put Tortellini in decent and just move on. Diona is a character that I haven't played a lot lately, but when I used to play her, she was always been okay, just purely from gameplay wise. Characterization wise, she doesn't really exist, so it is what it is. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Zhongli is a perfectly decent character in my opinion. Obviously his gameplay is basically shield and meteor. If you only play him as a shield, then I think your experience of his gameplay is gonna be hella boring. But I've built like a sort of hybrid DPS build on him, so I like his meteor damage. It's at least pretty decent. I'm doing like what, 88k per meteor, so that's kind of nice. We haven't heard from him in a long time, which is kind of like reducing his sort of like level right now in this tier list. If we heard from him a little bit more, that would be great. Xinyan, I wish we heard more from Xinyan because I love her voice. I love the voice direction that she has, even though everyone else hates it. I heckin' love the fact that she's this like Southern American African Chinese girl. I really like that about her. Her gameplay will always be flashy, but she obviously doesn't do nearly as much damage as other characters, and physical kind of sucks right now. Actually, not even right now. Physical has sucked for a very long time, so it is what it is. But on the rare occasion that I just try to like do something that's kind of hilarious, which is like a 100k ult with her ult with physicals and all that jazz, it's kind of funny. But outside of that, I haven't really played her a lot, so I'm gonna leave her at okay for the time being. Like, she's not terrible in my opinion, but I don't really play her all that much. Lately, every time I feel like playing Xinyan, I'm playing the higher, actually. So that's kind of what's going on here. Albedo, I don't have him. And I don't think I'll ever get him. Because the thing is, like, no matter how you look at it, Albedo's gameplay is not all that interesting in my opinion. And also, if you want Albedo for his gameplay and just his gameplay only, then Chiori exists, which kind of means power creep exists. So, I'm sorry, Albedo maze, but he's boring. Ganyu, I have her and she's still level 20. I think that tells you everything about her. I don't find her all that interesting. I don't even think her characterization is all that interesting anymore. I don't even think the fact that her charge attack does the most damage, I think, of all charge attacks in the game, for bows at the very least, is not enough to take her out of the boring category. So it is what it is. We have Xiao, who doesn't really exist in my opinion anymore because Xianyun exists, so gameplay wise he's kind of power crept by everyone. And his characterization is at least kind of nice. We haven't heard from him since the Chasm. No, that's not true. We haven't heard from him since the Beidou story quest. But either way, like I like where they're going with the Yaksha storyline. I hope they will expand on that. But in terms of his gameplay, because Xianyun is a character that exists now, yeah, that's kind of something I don't really give a crap about anymore. So for the time being, his story is still like keeping him up from being a character that doesn't exist, but otherwise I don't really care about him at all. With Hu Tao, who is my Pyro Xiao, playing her as a Pyro Xiao I think is really fun. Playing her as a normal Hu Tao main, I kind of fucking despise now. Plus, I cannot for the life of me build her properly so that Hu Tao mains don't yell at me. So I've given up. Other than that, like I like her as a character. I like her characterization. I think her role in the story kind of doesn't really exist right now. But it's mainly just playing her as Pyro Xiao is really carrying her at the present moment. With Rosaria, I have not played Rosaria in a very, very, very long time in any meaningful capacity. I think she's kind of fallen off for me. But yeah, like I haven't played her a lot lately, so maybe if that continues, I might actually drop her down into the boring category. With Yanfei, I have actually, I think, finally found a way to enjoy Yanfei gameplay-wise. So that's what's keeping her now in as a decent character, in my opinion. But I'm a little bit disappointed that we went through the entire Nation of Justice and we never talked to our lawyer! Where was Yanfei in all of this? Hello? Where the hell was Yanfei in all of this? So that's a little bit annoying. With Eula, I don't play Eula. I haven't played Eula, and I don't think I'll ever play Eula moving forward. She just doesn't interest me, like, at all in the slightest. Her storyline doesn't interest me that much anymore, especially because it hasn't been, like, addressed in any meaningful capacity in the past 3 years. Yeah, Eula's kind of gone skis from disliked. Yeah, I'm sorry, KSDL, but yeah, Eula's kind of over for me. Okay, now we have Kazuha, who I play a lot. For very obvious reasons, I play Kazuha a lot. And whilst his storyline appears to have more or less been resolved, after the... It wasn't the Kazuha story itself, it was the event that came, I think, immediately after the Kazuha story. I feel like Kazuha's entire storyline has more or less resolved. So that's cool. I think Kazuha is an amazing character. His gameplay is really, really cool. I like that he groups everyone, and he also can group Aloy Bomblets, which is also like a huge boon for that regard. And then on top of that, obviously his buff is really, really strong, and he's a universal buffer. So I think Kazuha is going to be our first amazing character. No surprises there. Okay, Ayaka. Okay, here's the thing. When it comes to playing cryo DPSs, I play only one cryo DPS, and it's not Ayaka, and you know exactly who I play. So Ayaka is in the boring set. I don't play Ayaka. I don't play Ayaka at all. And Ayaka's story and Ayaka's characterization, I don't care about at all. The only thing I like about Ayaka is the animated short with Ayaka and Ayato. I like that. That was really, really cool. But aside from that, there's literally nothing about Ayaka I care about. Yoimiya, also known as Pyro Aloy. I got Yoimiya under strict direction from Gersty Hell. Yeah, Yoimiya's gameplay is actually pretty cool. I like her characterization, especially after the Yoimiya second story quest. I really, really like that. I haven't played her lately, mainly because Arlecchino exists. But I think Yoimiya is going to be. I think Yoimiya is at very least a decent character. Her story and her characterization is really like pulling her right now. It's really carrying her at the moment. It was all for Chevy. I already had Chevy at the time. What do you mean? I already had Chevy. I got Chevy once, and then you were like, "Oh, just go for Yoimiya, you bastard." So yeah. Anyway, so that happened. But either way, I like Yoimiya, but I haven't played Yoimiya in a while. Maybe someday I'll do it again. But she's kind of... Her lunch is getting eaten, obviously, by Arlecchino. Okay, Sayu. I don't play Sayu. Sorry, Lily Pichu. I don't play Sayu. I wanted to, and it just didn't... It didn't take. Okay, Raiden Shogun. Do I need to explain myself? She does a lot of damage. She's an on-fielder. She batteries the entire team. I love everything about her story. I don't care if people think that the Inazuma storyline was bad. A was fantastic. I think I'm still interested in what A has to say. I'm obviously interested in what A and Miko have to do moving forward. Obviously, that little bit at the very end of the Iridori Festival event where A's like, well, we're gonna have to get ready for the war that's upcoming. What are you talking about, A? I am ready. Say the word. We go to war, okay? It is what it is. So, A, I heckin' love her. And Fontaine actually gave her a little bit of a buff in the form of the Aza team, where with A, Jean, Yolan, and Farina, we got ourselves a team that is actually really damn strong as well, and it's not rational. So that's really, really cool as well. So yeah, A got buffed, and then on top of that, she's always been like a fantastic character, and also my A builds are pretty good, so that also helps a lot. So yeah, A is also going to be our next amazing character. Kujou Sara. The only thing that is preventing her from being a great character is the fact that Hoyoverse have shafted her in terms of story. If Hoyoverse would actually have her show up in the Iridori Festival, Sara would have been a great character, but Sara got shafted in the Iridori Festival. She just keeps taking L's on a story basis, and that annoys the hell out of me. But otherwise, her gameplay, I really enjoy playing with her. I use her basically in all sorts of teams that require an attack buffer. So yeah, there we go. Kokomi has been shafted in every possible manner. She's still one of the most universal characters in the game, but even what's his face? Even the Kokomi mate, Kokomi clan. Even Kokomi clan recognizes the fish has been shafted in every possible way. She's okay. She's not boring. I still play her a lot in Raiden Inquisition, but at this point, that's like literally the only team I actually play her in on a regular basis. Can't really do anything about that. Aloy? Alright, hear me out, okay? As always, I still love playing Aloy. Obviously, she doesn't exist at all in the story. She doesn't even exist at all, more or less, in the game outside of just pure gameplay. But it is that gameplay that is really carrying her to be a great character for me. Which is obviously going to be a take that at best 55 people are going to agree with, and the rest of you are going to be like, the fuck? What do you mean? I don't care. Aloy was made even better with the introduction of Farina and the introduction of the Song of Days Past set, which actually kind of made Shenhe not that great for me anymore. But the fact that you can now play Freeze Aloy against bosses? Easy claps. So yeah, Aloy is a great character for me. I love her. Obviously, if we were to include her entire characterization in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, she would be above Kazuha and A. But we're not going to count that, because it is a different game. Insofar as she's still a great character. She's the only cryo DPS I play. She's actually the only cryo DPS I play. I don't have Risley. I don't play Ayaka. I don't play Ganyu. Who the hell else is left? You have Aloy, and that's the only one I play. So that's how it works, okay? Toma is an okay character. I mean, I don't really play him all that much. I haven't even leveled him up past level 70 still, for a good reason, because I don't really find a whole lot of interest in playing him, but on a rare occasion I do crack him out from time to time, but otherwise he's kind of just whatever. Ito doesn't exist. But in the story, like, he doesn't exist for me because I don't have him. But in the story, I always find his personality to be pretty funny. And Max Mittelman is always going to be like a Giga Chad voice actor, so good on him. His characterization is definitely at least keeping him away from being boring, but his gameplay is not something I care about because Noelle exists. So there is that. But I do like him as a character, and I hope to see more of him. If we see more of him outside of like Iridori Festival and other event shenanigans, maybe I'll have a better opinion of him. But for the time being, he's okay. Goro is a character who, I'm sorry folks, is boring as hell. Not just as a character, but also gameplay-wise. And this is mostly also colored by the fact that I don't have his C6 yet still, so that's definitely ruining my opinion of him a lot. If I were to get him to C6, maybe I'd have a much higher opinion of him, we'll see. But for the time being, I still don't really care to play him at all. Even in a Noelle team where people are like, oh, you should totally play Goro with Noelle, you should totally play Goro with Noelle. From a strictly meta perspective, you should totally play Goro with Noelle. The problem is, I'd much rather play Navia with Noelle, because I can actually battery Noelle with Navia. I can't really don't really find myself battering Noelle with Goro. It just doesn't seem to be happening. And that's with like a heckin' Favbo. Either way, story-wise, I don't really care about him. Drip-wise, I think he looks kind of whatever. And then gameplay-wise, not that interesting without his C6. So it is what it is. Shenhe! Okay, like I mentioned, prior to Fontaine, prior to the introduction of the Song of Days Past set, I played Shenhe a lot with Aloy. Now that we have the Song of Days Past set, I don't play Shenhe with Aloy all that much. Mainly because I still haven't figured out a way of playing Aloy, Shenhe, and Furina together in a way that I could also group Aloy's bomblets and not lose my hair by playing Jean. Either way, Shenhe is okay. She's also got the new outfit, which definitely upgraded her drip by a bit. I will say. It's not that like her new outfit is bad, it's just that her new outfit looks as great as her original outfit. Shenhe has always been like really attractive. I think Shenhe is okay. Hopefully we'll see more of her moving forward. But I think she's okay at the very least, and her niche is kind of hilarious. I guess if I were a Risley player, I'd play Shenhe more. But I'm not a Risley player, so there is that. Alright, Yunjin! I like Yunjin. I just wish we heard more of her. I mean, I should probably do the Yunjin hangout, which would probably mean I would hear more of her. But I like Yunjin. It's just that I don't play her that much for energy reasons. But aside from that, I like Yunjin. I think she's cool. I'm gonna leave her at okay. Only because I don't play her that much, but her characterization and obviously the fact that she's an opera singer is carrying her a lot away from being boring. So that's good. Yae Miko! There's a reason why I have her at C3, and I'm going to continue getting constellations for Yae Miko. Because she's hot, because she's definitely relevant in the story in some meaningful capacity with A, and because I heckin' love playing her all the damn time, right? Yae Miko is, I think, a fantastic character. Her characterization and her personality is something that I vibe with a lot. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of her moving forward. Risley synergy isn't that great, TBH. Oh, with Shenhe? Well, I would at least be able to fit Risley and Shenhe in a team with Furina and then bring Jean, because I don't have to worry about grouping bomblets with Jean. You don't have to worry about grouping anything with Risley. So there's that. Or I'd bring, like, Mika. Triple cryo probably seems overkill, but at the same time, it's Shenhe. That actually might not be such a bad idea. Anyway. Moving on. Miko, I think, is really cool. But on the opposite direction, we have Ayator. I mentioned in the Furina guide, in the Furina rerun video, Ayator is a very universal character. It's just one problem. If I ever feel like playing on-field Ayator, what I'm actually feeling is playing Neuvillette. If I ever feel like playing off-field Ayator, what I'm actually feeling is playing Furina or Mona. Ayator's story quest really threw me out from ever being interested in him at all. I don't think his characterization is all that fascinating. Yeah, I don't really care about him at all. Yelan! I think Yelan is still a great character. Yeah, I have been playing a lot of Furina lately because recency bias, but I have started to go back. I have started to what's the word? Equilibrate, if that's even a word. Go back to equilibrium and bring back some more Yelan gameplay. Yelan has always been great. I've always loved doing forward phase with Yelan's skill and doing like 120k hits that are just fantastic on her skill. And then of course, you know, she kind of basically is Furina's off-field Hydro App plus Furina's buff, but without the need of a healer. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, Yelan is still great. I don't know if she's necessarily an amazing character because we haven't heard from her in heckin' forever, so that kind of sucks. So yeah, the fact that we haven't heard from her in a very long time is really dragging her ass down right now. But gameplay-wise, I think she's really, really nice. Shinobu! I'm gonna be real here, like, Shinobu's gameplay, even though she's great specifically in our Hatham teams, it's not terribly interesting. I still think her kit is like one ability and that's it. And then, like, I like her outfit. She's kind of cute in it. The apple bottom jeans are like definitely a choice. She's okay. She's okay. I'm gonna move on. Hazel has amazing gameplay, but I barely play him. And we definitely haven't heard from him either. I have been wanting to play him again, and then I start... Like, here's the thing about Hazel. I want to play him, and then I start farming for him in the attempt to try and play him again. And then I kind of move on and don't farm for him again. And I kind of forget to play him ever again. So yeah, Hazel is... He's not boring. He's certainly not a boring character because his gameplay is really, really fun. I love playing that on-field gameplay with Hazel, but I always forget that he is an option. Okay, moving on. Tinglari. Obviously we haven't heard from Tinglari in a very long time. Pretty much since the Sumeru Archon quest, we haven't heard from Tinglari in a very long time. But Tinglari's gameplay to this day is still really, really fun to play. And with the introduction of Furina, at least for me, it became a bit of a boon to have Furina and Tinglari, because then you can play Quick Loop Tinglari, and that's really, really cool. Obviously, if you had Ayato, you could do that with off-field Ayato if you wanted to do that. But I think Tinglari, because of that buff from having Furina now, is a great character. He's only, once again, being dragged down by the fact that we haven't heard from him in however long. So, there's that. But I would love to see him again. I would love to interact with him. Maybe we'll interact with him in 4.8. Or with the Emily story quest. I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know. I don't know why in the 4.8 trailer, Emily is seen in Sumeru. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully we'll see Tinglari again, and maybe that'll bump him up. But either way, his gameplay will always be just one of the better gameplays, in my opinion. In terms of his kit, I think it's going to be one of the better ones in the game. Klee! I don't play her. I don't really care about her. I know she's an ex. I know she's an LSR survivor, and that's really, really cool. We haven't heard from Klee at all since the Archon quest. Just like we haven't heard from Tinglari since the Archon quest, and I don't really care about her gameplay at all. Moving on, Dory is in the Tinglari camp. It says that we haven't heard from her in a very long time, but in the meantime, I do love playing her at C6. She's a lot of fun to play. You know, Thundering Dory is a lot of fun. With the introduction of Furina, it became like sort of semi-meta almost. I think Dory is still really, really cool. And her personality is like, it's her personality and the fact that she at C6 is a team healer, and the way that Thundering Dory works, it's super duper carrying her, which I guess basically means that she's just really, really good. The only thing that's just dragging her down is the fact that we haven't heard from her in a long time. We haven't heard from her pretty much since the Interdarshan event. We haven't heard from Klee since the Interdarshan. No. When was the last time we heard from Klee? Let me think. When was the last... Oh, the Sethos story quest. Sorry, we haven't heard from Klee since the Sethos story quest. She was actually kind of cute there. But I still think that Klee is pretty boring of a character. Dory on the other hand, I think is really, really cool. Nilou worth for player? Yes, Nilou is always worth. Well, I'll get to Nilou in a second because the next character is Senno. Senno! Okay, hear me out. Here's the thing. I love Senno. Sorry, I don't speak good English. That's okay. I think I understood what you meant. Here's the thing about Senno. Seno is a fun character to play. Seno has an amazing story. Seno has an amazing characterization. The Seno story quest, the Seno second story quest, I think is absolutely fantastic, okay? I think Seno, in every possible way, is definitively an amazing character. Save for one thing. I haven't played Seno in a while, pretty much since Chlorinde came out, because every time I want to play a Seno team, what I actually end up playing is the Chlorinde team. Seno is only getting bumped down because Chlorinde exists. Seno is great. It's just that every Seno team I play is now a Chlorinde team. That's it. That's all that's happened. He is a fantastic character, but aside from that, yeah. Alright, Candace. I love Candace. We haven't heard from her in a long time. I still think she's really cool. I definitely play her a lot because of Nilou teams, but that's really it. She did get that upgrade of being a really, really good choice if you have C6 Candace in an Arlecchino team. I don't do that, though. So there's that. And the only reason why I don't play Candace in an Arlecchino team is because my Candace build is built exclusively for Nilou teams. So that's just how that works. Obviously, I could just swap to a build that works for an Arlecchino team, but I don't want to. So yeah. But yeah, she's a decent character, and I really enjoy playing her. Nilou got a new outfit. Is still one of the strongest niches in the game. Is a hilarious girl to be around. And even though her gameplay just by herself is kind of E, and then on occasion Q, or actually I've been playing a lot of on-field Nilou lately, and that's kind of fun as well. The fact that Super Blooms are forever just a hilarious sort of gameplay experience. Nilou is an amazing character, and I think most of you will agree, especially with her new outfit, and the fact that she's currently like getting glazed up in the summertime event. I think Nilou is an amazing character, 100% worth pulling, because she is one of the strongest niches in the game, and I really, really love playing her in a variety of variations of her teams. So yeah, I love Nilou. I think she's awesome. Let's move on. Nahida! You gotta do the Nahida charge attack swaps, some of the most satisfying. Oh yeah, I've done that too, yeah. Nahida, in every possible metric, is one of the most amazing characters in the game. Not only is she super duper strong from a meta perspective, but she's cute as hell. I'm still, to this day, mad at the fucking Grand Sage. So her characterization and her story is still an amazing story and resonates with me to this day. She also dropped some of the hardest lore bombs in the history of Genshin Impact. And did I mention she's really, really cute? I love Nahida. She will always be the daughter that I don't have. So yeah, Nahida will always be one of the most amazing characters in the game. Layla! I play her almost exclusively in Nouvellette teams, and that's about it. She doesn't really exist outside of that in any meaningful capacity. Like, I like her shield. I haven't played Frostloy in a good long while because Frenchloy exists, so she doesn't really even exist in my Aloy gameplay anymore. She's okay. She's whatever. It's fine. Whatever. Move on. Scary Memes! I don't have him. I think Scary Memes is still a fun character. I think he's still a cool dude. I definitely like him more from a characterization perspective now in relation with Nahida, because like Nahida is kind of like Scary Memes' adopted mum now, which is kind of hilarious because first off, Scary Memes looks older than her. Secondly, Nahida is shorter than Scary Memes because Nahida's a child, right? So there's that. I like the way they interact. I hope we get to see the both of them sort of interacting more moving forward, but we are going to see him in the summertime event. So for now, he's still sitting a decent character. I still won't get him for the time being. I still haven't thought of ever getting him, partly because Hazel exists, and at the same time, like I mentioned, I don't really play Hazel. So if I don't really play Hazel, I don't really find myself playing scary memes anytime soon. So that's probably not going to happen. Faruzan! If I had her at C6, I would play her more. I probably should do the Faruzan hangout because apparently it's tragic as hell. Until then, I don't really know anything about Faruzan. Maybe one day I'll get C6 Faruzan. Maybe if the day I get C6 Faruzan is probably going to be the day I'll play Hazel a lot more. So maybe that will be the day that I bump up both Hazel and Faruzan in terms of my opinion of them. But for the time being, I can't really do a whole lot with what I have, which is not much. Alhaitham. Amazing character, kind of boring gameplay. Mainly because, like I always say, whenever I feel like playing Alhaitham, what I end up playing is just on-field Nahida. I still think he's a really, really cool dude. So he's going to be sitting at decent. In the sense that it's his characterization and his story. It's not even his story. It's his characterization and the way he interacts with the other Sumeru boys. And more importantly, Kaveh. That is elevating him a lot. So that's really carrying him. But like, I don't really bother playing him. Like, I have Lo-Fi. But that was mainly because I was trying to get Absolution. And I kind of just stopped. So I wasn't exactly gunning for Lo-Fi for him. Anyway, that's a totally separate story. Either way, Alhaitham is fine. Yao Yao. I wish we saw more of Yao Yao, but I have liked playing Yao Yao a lot lately because I have her at C6. C6 Yao Yao is kind of insane. The off-field healing that she just does, somehow more or less supporting even like some Farina teams, is kind of terrifying. And the magical girl staff, the new magical girl spear that came out, is really, really good for her. Yeah. I think Yao Yao is a great character, and if we saw her more in the story, she would be an amazing character. So Hoyoverse are really just dropping the ball on Yao Yao in terms of screen time. That's basically it. I heckin' love Yao Yao. I think she's really, really cool. Alright. And she's got an amazing personality. She's like one of the most positive characters in the game. She's just happy. She's happy, she's helpful. What's not to love about Yao Yao? Dahaya! Everyone clowns on Dahaya because she's weak Omega Law. I disagree. I think Dahaya is secretly actually pretty damn good. I've been playing Dahaya quite a lot. I think Dahaya is a great character. Not just gameplay wise, for the shield purpose, but also with the introduction of Chevy, Frida. I think from a damage perspective, she's got a lot of potential. So yeah, I like her from a defensive point of view. I also like her from an offensive point of view. And she's hot. I think she's a great character. I would like to see more of her. But yeah, otherwise, I like Dahaya. I like Dahaya quite a fair bit. Mika! As a healer, he's great. Aside from that, I don't really care about him as a character. He's okay. That's basically it. The great thing about... Okay, no. There is a little bit more. The great thing about Mika is that he currently offers the highest amount of attack speed bonus, as far as I can tell, from a character, because his skill is a skill that levels up, and the more you level up the talent for his skill, the more attack speed he actually provides, and that's based on his skill, so that's actually really, really nice as well. So yeah, Mika's actually really, really good from a gameplay perspective, but from a character perspective, I think he's boring as hell. So that's definitely dragging him down, but his gameplay is keeping him from being completely boring. So there we go. Dr. Beidou is a fantastic character. I really love his story quest. I love his gameplay. That's it. Like, he's a fantastic healer. Farida basically made a lot of healers really, really good, and Beidou is one of the best for Farida teams. There we go. There are even Dendro teams that I will play without Nahida, specifically to have Beidou on them. Chlorinde Chaos is one of them. Yeah. I reckon Beidou is really good. Kaveh, on the other hand, his personality is amazing, but oh my god, I still don't know how to play him. I mean, I've played him recently in Nilo teams, and that's basically it. But as a driver, which kind of is meaningless for Kaveh, because half his kit basically becomes pointless. He's okay exclusively because of how he interacts with everyone else. Moving on. Kirara is, I think, a pretty decent character. I love her gameplay. That's definitely carrying her a lot. She is getting an outfit in this summertime event, so that's really, really cool. And she's obviously got a lot. She's obviously going to be getting about a lot of screen time in the summertime outfit, so that's really, really nice as well. But I haven't reached that point as of the recording of this tier list, so she's still a decent character in my opinion. Linny, I don't like his gameplay only because the charge shots take too long. That's just my opinion. As a character, I think he's pretty well written. I really enjoyed everything about him during the Fontaine arc. So he's going to be a decent character, and we're just going to leave it there. Lynette is going to be the exact same as Linny. In terms of her gameplay, I'm not all that interested in the way that she plays, and I also don't really know what kind of team I would ever put her in. But the interaction between the both of them, plus Fremine, and like the story that they have with the House of the Hearth, I think was really, really interesting, and I was fully invested into all of that stuff. So, to that end, she's a decent character. Ditto for Fremine. If I ever get C6 Fremine, Fremine might end up being a great character if I actually start to play him, but until then, I haven't really done anything about that. Fremine might be slightly elevated over Linny and Lynette, specifically because of the, what was it, the penguin event? The robot penguin event. That was a tremendously amazing story in that event that Fremine was part of, and I think it also gave us a bit more of a deeper insight into Fremine as well, and how he handles those kinds of problems, especially without the explicit help of Linny and Lynette. So I really like that about him. I think he's really, really cool. Okay. Novelette is boring. No, he's not. Novelette is an amazing character. Okay, not only is he one of the coolest dudes, one of the coolest looking dudes in the game, like look at the guy, he's awesome, right? But then on top of that, he does a lot of damage, he's meta as all hell, right? But then on top of that, the Novelette story quest, I think, was like one of the most resonating story quests in the game. And the Novelette and Siegwinne story quest really spoke to like sort of the tragedy of essentially extreme racism against Melusines that was later remedied and resolved over the course of about, I don't know, 500 years of work. Like, it took that long for the people of Fontaine to acclimate and coexist with Melusines that we now see as like, oh, they're cute Melusines, why would you hate them? Because people back then were hella racist. I love everything about Novelette. I love everything about the Hydro Dragon Sovereign. He also dropped some pretty incredible lore bombs as well at the end of the Fontaine Archon quest. Novelette is fantastic in every possible way. Risley. I don't have Risley because I play Aloy. As a character, I think Risley is actually really cool. And you know what? Truth be told, Risley's gameplay is actually quite good. His gameplay is actually quite exciting to play, especially as a boxer and all that jazz. If he was ranged, I definitely would be getting him. I definitely would not be getting him at all because then it would be Aloy. So, putting that aside, Risley is going to be the first great character, in my opinion, just in every possible way, and yet I don't have him. And I won't get him. I probably won't get him when he gets a rerun, because, again, I play Aloy. But, yeah, Risley is fantastic, I think, in every way. Farina! I mean, do I need to explain myself? Do I need to explain myself that Furina is an amazing character? One of the most tragic stories in the game. And then one of the biggest, not redemption arcs, post-Archon Quest, but more like one of the biggest sort of changes and sort of I'm actually invested in seeing her, what she's doing now post-Archon Quest. Her story is effectively done, but I still want to just see her doing things outside and interacting with characters. She's playing D&D now. She's basically, she's found a new job as a director now. She's living away from the Opera Epiclès. She's and the Palais Memornia. She's now living in her own spot. She's no longer cursed with immortality, which means she will eventually grow old and die. But she's living her life. She's living her best life, and I'm there for it. People are like, oh my god, why is Furina in everything? Shut up! I want Furina in everything! So yeah, Furina is an amazing character, 100%. She's also meta as all hell, but yes, Furina is fantastic. I love her. I think she's great. Charlotte! I've only just started to play Charlotte more lately, so look, she's decent. I like her characterization. I like her personality. But that hold skill timer is like really killing it for me right now. Like I'm still not vibing with that hold skill time because she's not Lisa. At least with Lisa's hold skill time being around 2 seconds, you get a gigantic nuke out of it. With Charlotte, what do you get? Some more energy, and that's basically it. Not the most satisfying thing on the planet. That's really dragging her down, in my opinion. So hopefully maybe we'll see something that can fix that, but until then, Charlotte is at least decent because she heals a lot as well. Navia is really, really fun to play, and I really love her story. I really like the tragedy of it, and how we have to deal with everything that happens to her. And then we move on, and now she's also living her best life as president of the Spira di Rosula. But more importantly, if anything, there's something that obviously carries the crap out of her, which is that shotgun umbrella. Navia is an amazing character. You'll find that a lot of the amazing characters are actually Fontainian characters, because Hoyoverse really cooked with Fontaine. When it comes to the characters, their kits, their characterizations, Hoyoverse popped off. And Navia is one of those examples. I think Navia is an amazing character. And she also made Noelle and Ningguang feel a lot better to play as well. So that's really, really nice. Chevy. I like Chevy as a character. I like Chevy as a niche. The only thing I kind of feel a little bit bored about is just Chevy's overall gameplay. But she's still a great character because her niche is so cool, and she also is the only pyro buffer in the game, and she's also the only real pyro battery in the game. So having Chevy means that I could play Dahaya more, means that I could play various other pyro teams more and do a lot of damage against Tulpa, Vivienne, Ninian, various other Hydra enemies. Chevy is fantastic. So yeah, there's that. Xinyan is the very reason why I don't have Xiao and will never get Xiao anymore. The very reason why I will skip out any and all Xiao reruns moving forward is Xinyan. That and Plunge was like a fad. To me, Plunge was a bit of a fad that I kind of moved on from. So I haven't played Xinyan all that much lately. When I play her, she's fun, because Plunge, when you get into it, is actually kind of fun to play as well. It's definitely just something that you can just do on occasion. But aside from that, like, we haven't heard from her since her story quest. We haven't heard from her, which is fine, whatever. But, like, she's okay. She's pretty decent. Her gameplay's pretty good. I think I'm going to leave her at decent. Garming! the funny thing about Garming is the moment I got Xinyan, I actually stopped playing Garming as well. And it might be because I don't have him at C6 yet, so I don't know, somehow his damage is kind of dragging my opinion of him down a little bit as well. I thought I would like him. Like, I still kind of do, but not that much. So he's kind of okay. He's cool, but he's not. I don't. Aside from everything that happened in Lantern Ride, I don't really care about him all that much. So there's that. Chiori, also known as why you should never bother getting Albedo ever again. Chiori has a pretty hilarious personality. Her characterization is pretty good, but I think her gameplay is boring as hell. I don't know if she's decent or okay. I'd probably just say okay, because I don't really think about her all that much. She's okay. Her gameplay is dragging her down big time. Arlecchino, also known as a character that Hoyo decided to market the ever-loving crap out of, is one of the best characters in the game. Does a lot of damage. It has an incredibly morally grey personality. Her backstory is very, very interesting. She's a Fatui Harbinger number 4. Did I say she does a lot of damage yet? I play her in a lot of teams. Arlecchino is the reason why I haven't played Yoimiya in a very long time. Arlecchino is the reason why I haven't played Diluc in a very long time. Basically, Arlecchino is the reason why I haven't played most Pyro characters in a very long time, including Yanfei, who I do want to play more of, but Arlecchino is just so much more easier to play. Arlecchino is way too strong. So, yeah. Yeah, Arlecchino just is. And there's not really a whole lot that need be said other than Arlecchino kind of is as she is. And she's really, really good. So yeah, definitely one of the most amazing characters in the game for sure. And hopefully we'll see more of her moving forward, which we probably will when Snezhnaya drops. So I probably won't see her a lot during Natlan because it's not her nation to deal with. That's when Capitano will start popping off, but hopefully when we hit Snezhnaya, we'll hear more about her. Alright, Chlorinde is also one of the most amazing characters in the game. I think Chlorinde is actually one of the most fun characters, or rather is currently the most fun character in the game. Her gameplay is honestly one of the most dynamic and most exciting gameplays in the game. Her kit. Not only is it a kit that is kind of ridiculously easy to build around because she gets so much crit rate from her whole kit for some reason. Like, she gets crit rate from her Ascension and she also gets crit rate from her passive. What the hell is going on? But then on top of that, you get to really move around with her. She shoots her gun a lot. And she's Electro. I love everything about her, and then her story quest, like, really sealed the deal. Chlorinde, if I were to do something, Chlorinde would probably be up here. I think Chlorinde is, like, beyond insanity. When Hoyoverse were cooking, they cooked really, 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 really hard with Chlorinde. And dare I say, she has one of the best kits in the game. So, that's for sure. That is for sure. Siegwinne. The few times I have seen Siegwinne, the few times I've played Siegwinne, don't really enjoy playing her. But I found her story to be very interesting. And her characterization is really, really cute, so she's decent. It's just that her gameplay is not terribly interesting. But, you know, aside from that, I think she's pretty decent. Sethos. Characterization, he's fine. Gameplay-wise, I haven't played him at all, so I can't really comment all too much. I love his demo trailer music. I think he's okay. Emily. I don't know anything about Emily because we haven't reached her yet. So I don't know. Mualani hasn't been released. Kachina hasn't been released. Kinich also hasn't been released. We don't know anything about these characters yet. I will say this though. Okay, let's go with leaks. Based on the leaks that I've seen so far, let's start from the beginning. Based on the leaks so far with Emily, I think her gameplay is boring. I'm gonna be real here. I don't think her gameplay is all that interesting. But we'll see. When I do her trial, maybe I will get a better opinion of her. But for the time being, I think it's boring. I don't know anything about her story or her personality, really. So there's nothing really for me to work with. With Mualani, I've seen some gameplay leaks so far. I think she looks very, very interesting. I think she might end up being a pretty decent character. I've seen the Kinich gameplay leaks. I think he looks really, really cool. I think Kinich is going to be a great character. And then I've seen the Kachina leaks. Her gameplay actually kind of looks pretty fun as well. I think she's going to be a pretty decent character. Maybe. We'll see. Like, this is going to really heavily depend on when they actually come out. That's the tier list for me in terms of the characters and how I feel about them just from a very general perspective. How do you feel about all of the characters in the game? Let me know in the comments because this is definitely going to be a YouTube video. There we go. Thanks for watching on YouTube. If you're watching this on the YouTube side as a video, hope you guys enjoy this. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Genshin Impact action, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace!